Hello, friends, and welcome to Dust James Anti-Imperialist America. I believe we're on episode 48. Name of the day's show, Shallow Promises. Shallow neoliberal promises create fascism. It's a lovely Friday evening. I'm enjoying nice IPA with y'all, nice beer. Pretty hard work week. Coming up on my 4-day weekend, about to switch jobs. Get in the comments. Let me get a shout out to everybody that's out there. Let me get on to Facebook. Make sure this is public and I can get the things there. All right. Edit, you get on here, edit the privacy, make this public on Facebook, and then I can see the comments if anybody puts a comment there. Shit. Get in the comments. Let me now I got a back thing going on. Let me turn this off. Let me get on the Facebook. There's a slight delay in my thing. So shout out to Uriel de Felipe. Hola. Mucho gusto. Bienvenido a la show. Dust James. I don't know if I'm going to say the Anti-Imperialist America. Si pones algo en español en el comentario, yo puedo contestar en español. Y gracias por venir todos que hablan español. Robert Raymond Holmes III. Greetings, comrade. Based Jedi from YouTube. Howdy. Orale. Howdy. Good evening. It is a lovely. Well, it was. There won't a cloud in the sky today. I was helping deliver one of my coworkers got injured, and I was out helping him move the boxes, and I was helping him move the boxes, and we were delivering 4 stops, and we go outside, and I look out in the sky. There's not a cloud in the sky, and he goes, "It's going to rain today. It's 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. It's going to rain. There ain't a cloud in the sky. Ain't no way it's going to rain." Then I get back out, and there's a few clouds. Lo and behold, it did rain. I guess the naked eye isn't as good as the scientific meteorologist. What have you. But it's a lovely, cool winter, rainy evening here in central North Carolina, in the horribly named Lee County, North Carolina, after the general who led the fight to maintain slavery, North Carolina. There's a bust of him at the courthouse here, the Injustice Courthouse, where they criminalize poor black and brown working folks to perpetuate the systems of class and racial oppression. And this is in the Black Belt South. I mean, that's just how disgusting and backwards for a county in a place where a good portion of the population, this man fought to keep their ancestors in slavery. It's the fucking name of the county. I mean, that's some goddamn bullshit. Fucking bust them up there. They need to tear down. They can't tear down these. If you ask me, they can't tear down these goddamn Confederate monuments fast enough. Can I do it? That's what I do, man. I work my ass off. I don't express my emotions too well. I'm kind of, I guess, there was this good saying on Hank Hill where he goes, if you see that feeling, it feels bad, something's wrong with it, don't talk about it. You stick it in your gut right here. and you push it in there, and every now and you let it out with a good growl. Everybody took a good hard drink, put a good growl on it. Look back on some of these questions. Hablas bastante bien. Gracias, compañero. Gracias. Necesito practicar mi español un poco porque no tengo mucho tiempo para practicar. El más que hizo es escucha banda y música original de México. Cosas así. He's got Brian Moore. What are you drinking? Looks backwards. I am drinking a Stone Cosmic Rhinestone IPA. I like, man, a good IPA with a strong bitter taste. There ain't nothing like it, and it's actually put like that purposely upside down because it got the seal, the independent breweries, which is right side up here. But if they put the label right side up, it's usually upside down. So it's kind of like, kind of like fuck the system kind of thing. Fuck norms, it's IP. I mean, they're a bunch of bourgeois capitalists and fucking fuck the damn. I love craft beer. I hate hipsters. Craft beer is beautiful. And it took a lot of energy and talent and experimentation to make those products that working people produced. But the people who have demanded them, this fucking yuppity, fucking gentrifying hipsters crowd, you can leave them the fuck out of it. William Lloyd Garris, hello, Dust. I like the John Brown picture. I like this John Brown picture too. It's there. I ordered from China, man. That thing took forever to come in the mail. But it's actually a metal plate. It's kind of like an old garage decal. It's been painted with that old picture of John Brown on it. I fucking love that thing. It took forever to get that from China. But wow, I really love that thing. And that is the background for my show. And John Brown is the background for, he's on, if you go to my YouTube channel, if you're on the Facebook and you have not subscribed to my YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube. Just Google Dust James Anti-Imperialist America. My channel will come up. Or just Google Dust James, go into YouTube and search Dust James Anti-Imperialist America. And you'll see my background is like this kind of cool font, Anti-Imperialist America. And the America kind of looks like his John Brown's mustache, which is kind of cool. And the reason why I use John Brown as the image, it's kind of like my Taiwanese comrade that got on here and said anti-imperialism, the highest stage of class struggle. I mean, my understanding is that John Brown was fighting against slavery, and was very dedicated, very heroic, gave his life and risked everything. He was a martyr for the cause to end slavery. And I would argue today's slavery, today's outdated mode of production is imperialism. Materialism, monopoly capitalism, as described by Lenin in Imperialism, the Final Stage of Capitalism. And the main enemy today is not Trump. It's not these weak fascist goon squads. It is the global political economic system of imperialism, monopoly capitalism. And that is the main issue. I mean, you can be in favor of other issues. You can do good work and support gender issues. You can support oppressed national issues. That's actually the two major contradictions within imperialism are the oppression of the workers and the oppression of the oppressed nations. And arguably, the main contradiction has become the oppression of the oppressed nations. But that's not to say that workers don't have a role to play in the coming, contradictions and revolution. It just means the leadership is coming from the oppressed nations and anti-imperialist bloc. And workers in the oppressor countries need to take stock in the fact that this country, or come to the observation that this falling empire doesn't help them, doesn't represent them. I mean, things were decent after, the Communist Party pushed Roosevelt to give us these reforms, and there was a union movement. We had a labor aristocracy, but there is no labor aristocracy. There still is a labor aristocracy in the United States, but it's going down, it's falling. And there's two choices for this former labor aristocracy. They can join the socialist cause and stand with our brothers and sisters in the third world, or they can join these goddamn fascists. These goddamn fascist tycoons that want to make America great again. Basically, they want to go back to the 50s, where white people had it decent. Where these people in the labor aristocracy and the capitalists, they want to go back to something that isn't possible to go back to. I mean, I call it, since the highest buying power for workers in the United States was 1968. And what has happened, it's kind of threefold, and I'll go into this. It was basically a technological revolution. And it was from the diode to the microprocessor. And the microprocessor has made global shipping ways possible, which led to globalization. And it's also led to this idea of neoliberalism, this change, the gutting of the social services, the gutting of any what's left of so-called social democracy. Neoliberalism, globalization, and technological advancements have made it possible for the capitalists to maintain power without a labor aristocracy, which is further further amplifying the contradiction of worker and capitalist. The rich have gotten so rich, and income and wealth disparity has grown. And what was a problem for first the African American community in the 80s, when they started to deindustrialize, when the black community was hit first and drugs were introduced and criminalization, that has reached larger rural America and white America. We're hooked on pills and opioids, and we're being criminalized, and we have a low-wage police state. Massive surveillance system with the new technologies. And that's basically the state of it. Shout out David Fox, says hello to everybody. Looks like me and Caleb are live. That's fine. I don't have to... Caleb goes live all the time, and I'm a fan of him, but shit, I have limited time, so I'm going to go live when I have the ability to go live. Any of y'all here, Telejaguar went on, I don't remember that lady, some ladies, I forgot the lady's name. It was this nice lady. Telejaguar went on there last night, and they were great. That conversation was great. It was on the YouTube. I shared it. If go back on if you want to look at that conversation, if you're looking for something to look at that's interesting, Telejaguar went on a positive show. I remember it was an African American woman comrade that was strong, powerful. I love that show, and they talked about great things. I shared it on both my Facebook page. If you have not liked Dust James Anti-Imperialist America Facebook page, please go like that. And you can watch that show where Telejaguar was on. And I stayed up late watching that. They're on East Coast time. So they're like 8, 9, or 10 o'clock is like shit. Well, they're like 6 o'clock is like 10 o'clock here. And I have to get up at like 5 o'clock. I have to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Speaking of, I'm going to share this link to my page because I was going live to my page for a while. And now I'm going live here. I will start going live again on my public page, Dust James Anti-Imperialist America, if my public page gets more likes than I have friends on Facebook. Right now I'm going live to my personal page, Dust James. And I have like 4,500 friends, and I think most of them get notifications when I go live, which garners me a good size audience. If my page could get over 4,000 likes, I would go live there. So please like my page if you haven't liked my page, Dust James Anti-Imperialist America, and share it with your friends. Invite your friends to like Dust James Anti-Imperialist America. That is kind of everything I share here. I also share there as well. Brian Moore, I love craft beer. I hate hipsters. LOL, fuck yeah. That's how I am. I'm a truck driver. I drove all 48 states and Canada. And I have tried about every major regional craft beer. I haven't tried all the little towns craft beers, but I've tried every regional craft beer out there. There's some good shit in Montana, good shit in West Virginia. Michigan got some good craft beer. And I like good brown ale, good Oktoberfest, good, my favorite IPA, double IPA, strong bitter beer. One time I was in West Virginia. I was up there off of I-77 in Whitfield. And I used to go bar hopping, and I went down to this little steakhouse. It was right off the highway. If y'all know where the exit, where there's a steakhouse and there's a Hooters and there's an Applebee's. And I started over there at the steakhouse, went in there, had a steak, and I said, give me something good and bitter. And they gave me a pretty decent black IPA. I think it was Mothman. There's a West Virginia legend about this Mothman, like Mothra dude. And I was like, you got anything stronger than that? You got anything more bitter than that? Because, I wanted a double IPA, just not a regular IPA. And she looked at that woman, looked at me, she said, what is wrong with you? And I was like, a lot. That's why I need this to kill. Alrighty. Shout out to shit, I can put you all on screen. Forgot about that. There we go. So there you go. Brian Moore, nice to have you with us. And then Salah E. I cannot pronounce your last name, brother. But I'm glad to have you here. Poppy Chulo. It's always cool with us. Here we go. Got somebody named A. The fall of the Eastern Bloc has also made capitalism worse. And this is true. The fact that the Soviet Union fell and, and all of the Soviet republics along with it fell means there was no longer competition. Part of the reason why the Communist Party here, a mass organized, inspired by the Soviet Revolution and the progress the Soviets were making, and that was led by Stalin. Reason why they were able to make such good gains here and give such good concessions to keep capitalism going is because they had competition with the Soviet Union. And the Great Depression, the Soviet Union was doing great. The U.S. was not doing so great. And it looked like socialism was going to win. And capitalism regrouped and reformed and strengthened itself and kept going. Darian Hale, great North Carolina comrade. Thoughts on the Aboriginal people of Australia? I think that oppressed nations are a main contradiction against the main enemy of imperialism. And I believe the Aboriginal people are an oppressed nation. They're kept poor to this day, just like Native people here. There's the good folk song that I played on Thanksgiving by Buffy St. Marie, Indigenous folk singer. She goes, can't you see that our poverty is profiting you? And that's basically what it's exploitation. So the reason why indigenous people are poor to this day is because they're exploited. The resources are exploited, their labor is exploited, and they're denied access to healthcare, education, and they produce far more for the imperialist systems they get in return. And it's contradictions like that that's going to push and bring about a new society, a new system. And revolutionaries should be trying to harness the power of all, disenchanted groups and focus on the main contradictions to get as much power and much people together to form a coalition to take political power, and then in power reshape the system for the people that put that system into power. That's being a revolutionary. It's not some, Marx actually said this, or Lenin actually said this, or it's not like some kind of sect or religion, or the Soviet Union was holding the mantle of what is true communism, and Enver Hoxha was holding the mantle of true communism. No, communism is not a religion. Marxism is a guide to action. Marxism is a way of understanding things. There's no one right Marxist position. I mean, it's almost like show your work. Why it's more important why people come to the conclusions and the actual conclusions that they come to. Darren Hale, I rewatched your video on Graham, North Carolina. You were speaking facts. Yeah, Graham, North Carolina is a racist, backwards town right between Durham and Greensboro. And back in the day, their sheriff lined up to support 287G, which gave the police the power to detain people and hold them for deportation, which brought in federal money to the police department, and basically terrorized undocumented workers. And which would suppress the wages for all workers and suppress freedoms of all people, the name of solidarity. Injury to one is an injury to all. And then just recently, Democrats, folks, were marching to the polls. And, the right-wing reactionary Trump supporting cops maced them as they were marching to the polls. That's the kind of shit. This isn't I mean, that's here in the U.S., the so-called best democracy. It's never been a fucking democracy. I ain't going to say some shit like this ain't some third world country, like the goddamn liberals do. Liberals be like, oh, this ain't a third world country, it's America. Well, fuck American exceptionalism. The United States has never been democratic for the majority of the people. American exceptionalism is a lie. And the more we can show people the system is undemocratic, the more people we can put on the right road to having the understanding to get out from the Stockholm syndrome of both these parties and American exceptionalism. Fuck American exceptionalism. This place ain't any better than anywhere else. And on the contrary, it's horrible for and just any good standard. Everyone says this is the best country in the world. And you just be like, ask them any standards. How so? Do we have better education? No. Do people have better standards of living? No. Do we have less inequality? No. Do they not exploit people as much? Oh, they're the biggest exploiters in the world. Hell no, this ain't the best fucking country in the world. This is the belly of the beast, the imperialist system. Wake up. You've been lied to. Get over it. I mean, how are we going to get this to folks? My comrade from David Fox. The indigenous people are Australia oppressed people. Yes. There we go. He's from Australia. It's good to have a comrade who's in solidarity with indigenous people in that country. Throwing shade at Hoxha. I wasn't throwing shade at Hoxha. Hoxha was a good revolutionary, and I think Hoxha made some real good decisions, but that's not how I was throwing shade at the folks that are like, Hoxha was the last real Marxist, or like they sound like fucking Catholics or fucking Protestants. So I remember being religious and like the Catholic. So the Catholics believe that the Catholic Church is the one receiver and the one true church of God. And then the Protestants believe that God worked through Martin Luther to hang those things on the door and they're the true beholder. That's how y'all Marxists sound. I mean, that's what I'm throwing shade at. I mean, Hoxha was a revolutionary and there's a lot to understand and study about that. I mean, we're not going to implement that system anywhere. Read everything, study everything. What happens in your country when you fight for socialism, you analyze the condition on the ground, you build the coalition, you take power. I mean, it's that simple. We go, Brian Moore. While you're talking about Graham, and with all that's gone on in the past week or so, could you talk about Greensboro 1979? And I will talk about that for you. I don't like to. I do think that some of the liberal forces in Greensboro, I ain't saying names, the reason why they like to focus on this 1979 thing is because the communists and the Panthers aren't as big no more. And these kind of liberal groups have kind of, Truth and Reconciliation, stuff like that, have brought that up to say, oh, you cannot be radical like the Panthers or the communists. Don't be a radical. Don't be a liberal like us. Be more peaceful. Be within the church and do this and that. Don't be a Panther. Don't be a communist, or the Klan's going to kill you. And I think there's something to be said about being antagonistic, and maybe they were a little bit antagonistic, but but I don't think we should be liberals. We should be communists. We should be intercommunalists, like the powerful understandings of the Black Panthers fighting for the oppressed Black nation. I think we should be revolutionaries. And a lot of people will bring that, and the right wing does it too. Like I said, I was doxxed. One time I was arguing with some racist reactionaries online. One of them goes, "You're a communist. You see what we did to them communists in Greensboro." This was like 2-3 years ago. 1979 was like 50, like, what was that? 20, that was 40 years ago. It was 40 years ago, 42 years ago. And I have people telling me they're going to do that to me. Basically, the Klan worked with the cops to target, assassinate communist organizers. And this is how it is. And people act like this is some kind of aberration of U.S. democracy. Like this was an isolated incident in the American system. That's how the American system runs. It's if you challenge the power of the system, they will kill you. I mean, democracy is only allowed to exist if it leaves the class that's in power firmly in power. If you challenge the order of how it is, they will kill you. And those promoting and believing democracy, to an extent, and really believe it, they basically self-prove their concept by never say anything that's outside the bounds of that system. People love democracy, say they live in a democracy, aren't going to do anything to challenge that system. We need revolutionaries. We need communists. We need Black nationalists. We need intercommunalists. We need Chicano nationalists. We need people to organize along the main contradictions: national oppression and class oppression. We just can't tail the Democratic Party and whatever the hell they want to do, like making it all about Trump right now. It's not about Trump. Trump is a damn reality TV host. I mean, he's still, even the president is a tool of the capitalist system. and the real powers that be. I mean, if the president really had control in the United States, do you think he could get banned on Twitter or banned on Facebook? Now, I'm not saying it wasn't a good thing. They got him shut down. I mean, there's a big debate on that. I think there's issues to do with, they've mostly used this to go against leftists. They've mostly used this fascist riot to go against leftists. Just recently, if you guys look on my page, I share every Friday, or most every Fridays, the New African Black Panther Party gives out food in one of the most oppressed places in the United States. Newark, New Jersey, hardest hit by the COVID. One of the most exploited places. You go out into someplace, Newark, New Jersey, damn place looks like a war zone. And people are treated horrible. People are denied services. And the revolutionary group, the New African Black Panther Party, is out there giving food with a 10 points saying you deserve housing, you deserve health care, fight for it. Absolutely beautiful group. And that has nothing to do with what happened down there. These damn yacht tyrants, small business tyrants, mad because someone they thought was out for them was being used. These fools down there having their riot. They used this to go after that. So Zulu Sherrod got a knock on his door from the FBI and from the Jersey police saying, did you have anything to do with the riot in the Capitol? Hell no, he had nothing to do. It's intimidation tactics, intimidating revolutionaries, because revolutionaries are a threat to the system. Because we actually want a system that gives us healthcare, education, freedom, a say over what happens with our labor. There we go. That's a good, thank you, comrade. Comrade Reese, you perfectly summed up the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie there. Thank you. Thank you, Comrade Reese. Everybody subscribe to his channel. And Brian Moore, exactly, thank you. There are two justice systems. Read political stance. The right gets a slap on the wrist. The left gets shot in the streets. And it was obvious. You saw these people were allowed to go in the Capitol and trash the place. I think it was a riot. I mean, you're going to call this a coup? I mean, it might have been an attempted coup, but it was so obviously not going to actually work that I won't even call it a coup. I call it a riot because, I think focusing and making it all about Trump takes the eye off the real enemy, which is the entire monopoly capitalist imperialist system in both their wings. Democrat, Republic, don't even matter which one's in power. Doesn't even matter which one's in power. The capitalists, the people that really own this place, the bankers, the oil companies, the oligarchs, and the manufacturing, large-scale manufacturing to a lesser level. And then the emergence of these tech oligarchs, these Silicon Valley fascists. These are the real motherfuckers that actually control this place, regardless of what politicians in power. And basically, the politicians, Democrat and Republican, rural people back Republicans in large numbers, urban folks backed Democrats in large numbers, and they continually get us to blame the other voting bloc. That's why things are fucked up, instead of uniting and fighting against the imperialist capitalist system. And that's basically what it is. Fuck the Democrats, fuck the Republicans. Workers unite and fight. Oppressed nations and workers unite. Ooh, man, I'm getting a lot of response on here. I got 13 people on here. Got a bunch of likes. Got a lot of participation. Thank you. Love you all. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, I don't believe we have a co-host. If you would like to, if I know you well and you want to co-host, email me, workingclassrevolt@gmail.com. Should be just me and David tomorrow, but it's always a good show when I get together with my comrade, David Fox. We do Working Class Revolt. That's 8 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. Here we go. And social media has been shutting a lot of things down before the riots. Yeah. I think they tried to take down, at least they tentatively took down and put back up Press TV, which is Iranian television. Now, Iranian television is one of the best. It's funded by anti-imperialist, which makes it a good thing, not a bad thing. Like, if it's funded by anti-imperialists, you know where their standards go. This whole thing about bourgeois so-called objectivity. Bourgeois objectivity usually is the moderate position of the system, somewhere between Democrats and Republicans, which is just imperialism. If you actually want other media, you have to go to other forces. Go to media funded by the anti-imperialists. This is why RT says some shit the mainstream media don't say. Iran says some shit the mainstream media say. Tele Sur says the stuff the mainstream media won't say. And then you got anti-imperialists within the United States, Gray Zone, myself, Abby Martin, the Empire Files. There's a lot of us. Black Agenda Report is great. That's one of my hugest inspirations. Black Agenda Report. And then our friends at Tally Hagwire. I haven't liked them or followed them on Twitter. Get on the Twitter and follow them on Twitter. I've interviewed all their members, and you can go back and look at that. They're great comrades, doing exactly what needs to be done. The Silicon Valley oligarchs will decide which views are represented. They're a lot like the so-called free press owned a small majority of people. And Facebook, Amazon, these people were created. These people were funded and created by the deep state, and they're working with them. Facebook and Amazon have replaced whole agencies at the FBI. I mean, it's clear that they are owned by, and if you look at when Trump was took off of Facebook and Twitter, it's obvious that the president has no real control over this country. The bourgeoisie and the monopoly capitalists, the bankers and oligarchs, the bankers, oil companies, and like I said, large-scale manufacturer to a lesser extent, control this country. Doesn't matter who's in office. They control the government. They bought all the politicians. They own this place. Stop having illusions in the system. The system in America is fundamentally undemocratic. The American system is fundamentally undemocratic, and it is meant and maintained to exploit you. It is maintained to exploit you, your family, your community, everything you care about. It is there to extract resources from you. That's what the entire system. Every one of its members in office are pawns, including the squad, including AOC, imperialist sheepdogs. We need revolutionaries. We need movements. We need representatives of the people, for the people, by the people. All power to the people. I am the people, not the pig. I am a revolutionary. That is the spirit and the energy we need. Comrade Reese again. Democrats and Republicans are both imperialist warmongers who serve the interests of the capitalist class. Biden's administration is full of war criminals and those who oversee mass incarceration. Joe Biden is the architect of mass incarceration. His crime bill has put millions of poor black and brown brothers and sisters in jail and ruined their lives over bullshit. These people are enemies. Joe Biden is an enemy of the people. Joe Biden is a pig. Fuck Joe Biden. How many times you got to say that? Anybody that told you to vote for Joe Biden is either a pig, an opportunist sheepdog, or they're confused. And they're being confused, and they got Stockholm syndrome. How the fuck are you going to have? That's like being attacked by two giants or being attacked by two dogs. And if you give a steak to one dog or that's going to stop you from getting eat. No, he's going to finish that steak and the other dog's going to attack you. It's not going to help you out. You can't, if you're being attacked by two people, you can't give support to one of those people and act like that they're going to stop them from hurting you. These people are against you. They're going to take whatever they got from you. They're stronger than you. They're more organized than you. They're working together. No matter how bad the fight between the Democrats and Republicans looks, they come against you. And this has happened with third parties time and time again. The second we get a third party up and running that actually goes against their power, the Democrats and Republicans unite to suppress that third party. Has happened time and time and time again. Not only do the capitalist class control the news media, they also control the entertainment industry. Parenti had a good lecture on anti-Sovietism in film. Right on. And same with the academic community. A lot of these bougie, petty bourgeois academics are little more than the bishops of the feudal system, putting out information that keeps people passive and going along with the system. That's why I dropped out of college and started driving trucks, because I couldn't be one of those bishops. I couldn't deal with being told what to tell oppressed people. I mean, going back, maybe I could have worked within that system, but I mean, at fucking 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever, man, I just couldn't deal with it. And, you know, I started driving trucks and I've loved it ever since. I love my job and I'm here with y'all and everything. Life is good. Life is good, man. And thank you, Alexander M. I've been up here 41 minutes. Haven't even got to the main topic yet. Love all the comments. Love all you guys. Get in touch with each other. Make YouTube videos yourselves. Write articles. Talk to your neighbors. Build an organization. Join an organization. Long live the struggle for socialism. One of the best things you can devote your life to. It makes you feel good to be doing something for the people. Not just escaping through video games, not just escaping through drugs, or even escaping, into church and being part of the community. That's wonderful. But socialism is where you can feel satisfaction, like true satisfaction from being a socialist. Because not only are you given the tools to better understand the world around you, you can understand and work with comrades to do something about it and to know you're doing something about it. Have the understanding to know you're doing something about it. It's a beautiful feeling. Being a socialist is one of the best things in my life, and I will die being a socialist. I will devote a significant portion of my life to being a socialist. And I have, and I will continue, and they're going to have to kill me to stop me. They're going to have to rip my tongue out to stop me from talking about socialism. Because it's the way forward to a better future and a better tomorrow for everyone that I love, that I see in the street, that I see, I see folks on the street homeless. I see folks working jobs they don't want to work. I see people living in horrible conditions. And I know that my fight for socialism is to improve all of their lives, improve everyone's life. Make the world a better place. So I'm going to get to the topic of today's study. I got this in the paper today. Wall Street Journal. I read the Wall Street Journal I like because it's straightforward and gives you the ideas of the enemy. Biden pushes for $1.9 trillion in pandemic economic relief. Okay. And that's what I want to get at. I think there was some good tweaks. If everybody watches Ajamu Baraka, the vice presidential candidate, not this election cycle, before that, of Black Agenda Report and Black Alliance for Peace, that dude is a genius. And basically, a lot of what's on here is just me reading that shit and just repeating it back in my accent and voice. And I'm clearly I'm clearly saying that. That's what I do a lot. That's what I do all week. I listen to YouTube videos. I read articles. I try to keep up on the news and continue applying the ideas of scientific socialism. I'm not perfect. I'm trying my best. And a lot of my help comes from anti-imperialists in the U.S., like Ajamu Baraka. And he came out there saying, I'm not going to misquote him or what have you, but he got out there saying, the Democrats are going to have, they're going to have the House, they're going to have the Senate, they're going to have their president. And if they don't do something with that power, they don't represent us. And it's not, a lot of people are making parallels to Nazi Germany. This is not Nazi Germany. This reminds me of 2008 and 2009. It seems to be a lot similar than Nazi Germany. Basically 2008, 2009, there was an economic crash because of the housing bubble. And Barack Obama, the Obama-Biden administration, Biden's already been in power for 8 years. 4 years ago, before Trump, Biden was in power for 8 years. I mean, you want to know how things are going to be? Not much different from the bullshit Obama was doing. Mass murdering, bombing, bailing out banks, austerity, coups, wars, destroying African countries. That's how things are going to be under Biden. I mean, we've already seen it with Obama. I mean, so the first thing Obama did in 2009 when coming into the presidency was to bail out the banks. Now, it's not Biden that did it. This economic collapse happened a little bit before the transfer of power. In 2009, the economy crashed right before it basically crashed right before the presidential transition. And then Obama came into power and just bailed out the banks, just gave $1 trillion to the banks. And that's fucked up. Zero interest money, $1 trillion. Zero interest trillion to the banks. And who paid back? And then they paid it back. But how did they pay it back? By our credit card, where we pay 25% interest. On our mortgages, where we pay 5% interest, 3, 4, 5% interest. $25. Some of these auto loan places around here, $25. Some of these payday loan places, 300%, 200, 300% interest. They gave them $1 trillion. They loaned it to us. They made money with nothing. They made money with nothing. They made money off of our tax money. That's what they did. So what was a lot like Obama's bailout, the Obama-Biden bailout? What was a lot like that? The fucking CARES Act. The CARES Act, which happened right after the big scare in March, where everybody was just realizing what COVID was. People were dying. People didn't know what to do. Hospitals being overwhelmed. The Congress, we need to do something. We need to do something fast. And when they do something fast, they never seem to give us health care. They never seem to give us education. They never seem to give working people anything. Just like in 2009, they immediately bailed out the banks. So what did they do this time? They gave at least $3 trillion, way bigger bailout. $3 trillion plus dollars to rich motherfuckers to bail out their system. That's what they did with the CARES Act. And these squad AOC motherfuckers voted for that shit. They voted for that shit. We got $1,200 and then the biggest massive transfer of wealth in history from the working class to the super rich happened under the CARES Act. And that was recently. It was a huge crime. Huge crime. CARES Act was a crime against, it was an outright theft from the working class to the bourgeoisie to save their system. That's what was happened. 2009 and then 2020 with the CARES Act. And it happened to happen under Bush. I mean, it happened to happen under Trump. It would have happened under Biden if he was in office, because the presidents really don't control shit. And it's interesting because Trump kind of fluctuates. A lot of the Democrats, I believe, they're closer in with the oil, directly in with the oil and finance capitalists, the stronger form of the capitalists. The Democrats are the stronger party. I think the Republicans, and specifically Trump, is in more with the military-industrial complex and the large-scale manufacturing. And it's interesting that Trump was in power and the CARES Act still passed. That means those large-scale manufacturers like Home Depot and shit like that, tied in the military-industrial complex, that suffered with the shutting down of the economy. They weren't, I mean, they were bailed out, but they weren't bailed out to extent. So what I'm trying to say off of this is that the banking class, even though Trump was closer in with the large-scale manufacturing, he ultimately is still controlled by the banking class. Same people the Democrats are directly tied into. So the CARES Act bailed out the corporations, the banks, and we got basically nothing. We got shafted. The economy shut down. We didn't get bailed out. We got $1,200 here, $600 there. People are about to lose their homes. People lost their jobs. People lost their health care. And we still haven't recovered from the first recession. What caused Trump? People being dissatisfied with the system. People just being dissatisfied with the system gave birth to Trump. And now, literally the same person that was in power, Biden, that did the same economic bullshit that created the fascism, that created the conditions for the fascism, you're going to put them back in there and you think things are fixed? Things are not fixed. The continuation, the material conditions, the destruction of the labor aristocracy, the destruction of the middle class, the destruction of the small business owners. That's still, that is going to happen under Biden and continue under Biden. Neoliberalism creates the conditions for fascism. Comrade, folk singer David Rovics did a really good article. Just Google. I think it got on Counterpunch. Of Triggers and Bullets. Of Triggers and Bullets by David Rovics. And he lays out that's what happened in Nazi Germany. The Social Democrats failed to create prosperity for the people. And then there was no legitimate left source, and they joined fascism. They supported fascists and demagogues. We need the only thing that is going to stop fascism is a real socialist movement of, for, and by the people to build workers' power. Build workers' power and challenge the entire system, to challenge both parties. Build workers' power. Use that as a tool for the revolution. Build ideology. Spread ideology. This is the task. This is what is to be done. Build workers' power. Spread revolutionary ideology. Talk to your neighbors. Build organizations. This is what is necessary. I'm just an angry truck driver in the South that's mad they got to pay fucking all this for health care. If I lose my job, I lose my health care. I'm fucking angry. Fucking interest on my mortgage is too high. Goddamn, being a working class and being exploited. I want to stand in solidarity with the oppressed nations. I want to stand on the right side of history. I want to support a better future for all of us. Looks like I got some more comments. I'm getting close to an hour. I was only expecting to go like 20, 30 minutes, but y'all got into it. So basically, neoliberal lies are the reason, create the conditions that create fascism. Now, I was actually, when I was delivering at one retail store today, there was a young woman in there. She was very excited about, I'm going to get that $1,400 check. Biden's the president now, or Biden's about to be the president. I'm going to get that $1,400 check, and they're going to raise the minimum wage. And I'm working down here at another store. I work 2 jobs. They're going to pay me $15 at both stores. Trump's a young lady, and Trump's finally out of office, and things are going to be better. And I hate to tell folks, I mean, that's a feeling a lot of folks have. A lot of urban folks feel like Obama, a lot of people on the left, even some more liberal folks in rural areas. I know Democrat, everyone's happy like Obama, or it's hard to tell them. Everyone feels like Biden is going to make everything better. It's just not the case. And it's sad. It's sad. And they're just going to find a way to blame not doing shit. So if you look at this pandemic relief, and I was looking at this in the, the Wall Street Journal. And the Wall Street Journal was saying that one of Biden's promises was to give $10,000 student debt relief. Well, he didn't even bring. So now they're negotiating. They've already started negotiations for even before Biden's in office. They've already started negotiations and planning to introduce a new stimulus bill. But the stimulus bill is weak. The amount of checks they got going out are low. There's no reoccurring payments. There's no universal health care in that. There's no student debt relief. So student debt relief, he was cool with. And they haven't even started to negotiate. So what's being proposed by Biden now and the stimulus bill isn't even what's going to be passed. This is what he's bringing to the table to negotiate with the Republicans. And it's weak to begin with. And then as they start negotiating, they get to blame the Republicans. They're going to, all the shit that's good, they're probably going to lower that check amount. We're probably not going to get our wage raised to 15. That's probably not going to happen. Like all the shit they're promising is not going to happen. It's almost like the ratcheting effect. You got to ratchet. So you got this here, you got this gear. And every time this gear won't let things go this way. It will only turn this way, right? So the Democrats will stop any movement to the left, and the Republicans keep ratcheting to the right, ratcheting to the right. Things just keep going to the right. Things just keep getting worse. It's the ratchet effect. That's the duopoly system. Democrats stop good shit from happening or don't even bring it to the table. Or the Joe Biden would veto Medicare for all, and the Republicans continue the ratchet to the right. The ratcheting effect. And that's it. That's how it goes. The damn shit's falling apart. But there's something. But I'm hopeful about it. I'm optimistic, and I look to the leaders in the third world that are doing something and changing and breaking out of the system. China has lifted millions of people out of poverty. Iran has maintained its stability, also lifted people out of poverty. The Bolivarian revolutions, Nicaragua, Venezuela, Bolivia, are all doing wonderful things and staying up against the oppressed nations in the United States. Black Lives Matter. The Chicano people in 2006, shutting down those negative immigration bills. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's happening all over the place. People are rising up against the imperialist system. The people of Yemen, who are going through mass starvation and facing genocide, are fighting off the enemies that are killing them with U.S. guns and bombing them with planes that were fueled by U.S. warships. Vietnam as well is going strong, maintaining themselves. They had to take on market reforms so they could do trade that would build and invest in their country, but they're still firmly independent, and they're still taking care of their people. And it's obvious with the COVID, Vietnam, China, Cuba, all these countries did way better at protecting their people against this virus. Shout out to Kobe Lay putting out that Vietnam comment. And I'm going to address a few questions. I'm going on to an hour. This turned out to be better than I thought it was going to be. I absolutely love y'all. And as long as y'all are engaging with me, I'm going to keep doing this. Hopefully I inspire. Maybe I'll be the person on the street corner that inspires the next Lenin, inspires the next William Z. Foster. I can just talk to as many people as I can, get these ideas out there about the current world and the way it's changing, and maybe I can help inspire the next Stalin or Lenin or Mao. I have to say, as soon as saw President Biden heading to Germany for the first foreign trip to play Kennedy in Berlin instead of visiting Africa and meeting Mandela, I had doubt about his presidency. Yeah, and I think that's a European comrade. And there was a love of Obama in Europe. Like Obama was the perfect face for imperialism. He could command respect from the rest of the imperialist bloc. And also, his middle name Saddam was used to say, "Oh, the U.S. isn't horrible." Even though Obama was bombing all these Arab countries, they could do things like the Arab Spring and the name. So Obama was able to destroy a partly Arab country, an African country, Libya. He would hit with the way he had his perception of being as forward and progressive, was able to destroy Libya. It was only with the face, the mask, a pretty face on and a good voice on an imperialist system. He was the more dangerous power. He was the more effective power. That's why I often call the Democrats the more effective imperialist. I think Trump has got a lot less done. Not because it ain't like he didn't try to get shit done. Like that motherfucker murdered when the leading political figures in Iran. But his coup attempt failed. This has to do with the strength of the people as well. In Venezuela, coup attempt worked and then failed. In Bolivia, Trump has been a weak executive of imperialism, which has been a good thing for a lot of the world. Now, he's been horrible on domestic issues. He's been outright racist. He's been antagonistic to even the little democratic norms that we have. He's been horribly domestically, but on an international scale, he was a weaker imperialist, and it's actually to the benefit of many anti-imperialist countries. And that's just differences between Democrats and Republicans. That's why I don't support Trump over Biden or Biden over Trump. They're evil and different. And they're different in different ways. But ultimately, they're just tools and pawns of the imperialist system. The sheepdogs, the fascist goon squads, the politicians of both parties are just tools of the imperialists to maintain the imperialist system. The cops, the military, all of them are controlled. The only thing that's not in their control is when we build our own power. When we build power and ways of understanding outside of their system. Grassroots, underground, shit they cannot control. Stuff they want to destroy. If the FBI has not knocked on your door or fucked with you or took pictures of you, you're not a threat to their system. All my heroes got FBI files. Because we need a new system. We need to be revolutionaries. We need to be a threat to this system. Shit, it's been over an hour. If anybody wants to get in the comment real quick, I see y'all talking with each other, and that's great. Please talk to each other. Get each other's email. Make this a community. Make this a conversation. Talk with me. Talk with each other. Grow working class power. Spread revolutionary ideology. And as always, all power to the people.